think I have the hardest day today because I'm standing in front of you and your lunch, right? So that's the hardest part for the day. So as the lady described about me, I wear multiple hats. Till about a year and a half, I was working for leading corporate. I was member on the board of telecom for British Telecom, member of the board of directors for India, and also leading global marketing for them in London. Today I have my own startup. We are working on technology and integration with marketing. I am also advisor to a couple of startups and also advisor to a very interesting area, which is CXNet, which you just saw. So I don't know where we are. Okay. So how many of you here are technologists? That's all? In a full room full of people in Bangalore, I find only 3 technologists. This is surprising. How many of you are responsible for or working towards delivering customer experience? There are many, many more people. Quite interesting. But I found that those people who said they were technologists did not raise their hands when I asked them who were responsible for delivering CX. And that's the gap. That's exactly the gap, right? How many of you here are working for or have plans to launch a DtoC business? Good. I see a fair number. That's fantastic to see. So today in the next 15-20 minutes, if you bear with me, I'm going to talk about how we leverage customer experience for empowering the DtoC businesses of today, right? And stop me wherever you want. Let it be a more freewheeling kind of a discussion, which I believe in. Now, why CX is important? I won't spend much time on it. This is one thing which everyone has to understand, and I love Steve Jobs for whatever he did and whatever he brought in. But there's one quote which tells me, and this is a very, very remarkable quote, that if you are planning to build a business where you are planning to sell a product $8 billion, $10 billion a year, then you have to start from customer experience and work backwards. You can't pick a technology and go out and find out a customer for that. Okay, now I have a technology, so let me see how does it fit in and how do I sell it. Not a very savory statement here for some of the technologies, but that's a fact. And that is where some of the technologies fail, because they have never conceived how customers will perceive about that technology, and that's the most important factor when you look at it. So over the next 20 minutes or so, I'll first talk about what's happening in the CX world and what role technology is going to play in delivering a superior CX for your customers, right? So as I said, CX, one of the basic thing is it provides you the competitive advantage which no other things can do. In the today's world, which is a very, very busy world, especially in the DtoC environment, it's busier than you can think of. So you're swiping your Instagram, suddenly you saw a new mascara and you just click, went there, bought it. Suddenly you find another one, suddenly you find a new chocolate which is, sugar-free, gluten-free, vegan, all that stuff, keep on moving. This is very, very busy world. And it's noisy also. So there are too many people trying to vie for the same customer space. And therefore, what will differentiate, what will bring the customer advantage is nothing but customer experience. That's the first thing. Second thing is about loyalty. In today's world, and this is a fact, loyalty is very difficult to sustain. It's easy to find, but difficult to sustain. And only customer experience can help, because when you have a loyal customer, you can end up selling a lot of things going forward. Third is increased revenue. A satisfied customer buys more of your products and more of the same products. So CX, no brainer about it, that CX is important and it is going to leverage your growth. It is going to leverage and give you your competitive advantages, and this is the only way to increase your revenue as you progress further. Now let's look at, I'll come to the DtoC industry, because that's a very, very important role. Let's talk about what happens in the brick and mortar world. You go to a shopping mall, you decide I'm going today, I want to buy something. You go to a shopping mall, you look at various brands, you compare with them, then you decide, you discuss with the family, then you took a purchase. The whole day the whole process may take, if not less, but couple of hours, if I'm not wrong, right? And this is how the process happens. So there is a classic thing of what we call as awareness, interest, desire, and that leads to purchase, then post-purchase, and then advocacy or loyalty. That is a normal. When you go and buy a refrigerator or television or a car, this is how it happens, right? Am I correct? And sometimes this whole process can go on for few days, maybe months, when you are buying a house, for example, or buying a car, for example. But let's look at the DtoC world and what's happening there. The three things, interest, awareness, interest, desire, and even purchase, happens very fast. The time is very, very low. So you have a touch point. The touch point can be your social media. The touch point can be a QR code which has come on your phone. The touch point can be where you go and you see some place, some kiosk, and from there you are guided to. A lot of DtoC companies are now having kiosks, right? That's the model they are building. Mama Earth is one of them, which is then. I saw a very famous chocolate brand, Ditch the Guilt, from Coorg. Right? It's very close to to this place. They are one of the leading chocolate guys selling purely on DtoC. Now, when you buy such products, the time taken is very small. So you have a touch point where you go from that touch point to a place where you are engaging. So what happens? On your Instagram, you swiped, clicked, you reach to either a payment page or to a website or to a comparison page or somewhere where you are engaged with there for a moment, and then you take a purchase decision immediately, and then you leave exit, then check out, right? I'll go to the other part later. But these three things happen in a touch of a button and very, very short. Therefore, what you have to do is you have to sustain the customer's interest really for that short period of 5 minutes in which this purchase will happen, and also ensure that there is no distraction. Now think about it, your website is not working. So I saw the ad on Instagram, I clicked it, but the website is not working, or the checkout process has an issue, or I am not able to find the product which was advertised on the Instagram or any other social place or your QR code. And these are the big red flags. And therefore what will happen is the customer will abandon. Today the rate of abandonment of a DtoC purchase is as high as 57% in US. That's the rate. 57% of people, more than half of the people abandon purchase because of some glitch in the cycle. That glitch could be because of anything, and we will come to that. That is where the technology will come into picture. But that glitch could be anything. It could be website, it could be checkout, it could be card not working, it could be anything. But it is there. And imagine more than half of the customers you are losing because of this. And think of the other side, DtoC market in India is poised to become $1 billion worth of DtoC market by 2025, of which almost 46% to 43% is fashion. And there are a lot of people here I can see who I'm sure are buying fashion products from DtoC, right? Am I correct? Are you buying it from DtoC? A lot of them. And there is so much competition there. The same brand is available from multiple sellers, same brand. Forget about different brands of the same shirt you are going to buy, but the same brand of shirt is available from different sellers on the same platform. So the challenge is, how do you retain the interest and ensure that the person who has come to your website or to your landing page from wherever ends up buying and doesn't abandon. And if you are not delivering a superior experience, he will abandon. Now then comes the next part, which is you have to deliver. Now delivery in most cases will be a combination of online plus offline. Now, how do you handle that piece? That is also a very, very critical thing, and I will talk about it in the next part. And then comes post-purchase, which is again a combination of online plus offline. And how do you manage that part? We will talk about in the next slide. So see, what is happening is your decision making and purchase is 100% online, which means you can leverage all your technologies to ensure that the decision making and purchase happen, the customer journey happens the way you want. Second is delivery. A lot of it is online plus offline. Tell me how many times you have bought a good product, but it was delivered either late or not delivered at all or delivered in a shabby condition. Am I correct? And what has been your customer experience? Probably very bad. You would not have bought it next time. Now here, how do you integrate a third party technology of delivery? Because a lot of people are using third party providers. A DtoC, you can't be a logistics guy and selling everything, shipping everything to every place in this country, right? So you need to deliver through a third party. How do you deliver through a third party and integrate his systems into your system so that it's a seamless experience for your customer? Because customer is not going to blame the delivery partner, customer is going to blame you. For him, the experience is provided by you. So that's a very, very important thing, and how you integrate online versus offline. So you have seen a lot of things happening. You see, okay, your order is received, it is being shipped, it is being delivered, you will receive in 2-3 hours. You get constant updates, right? You can track the delivery mechanism. Now that is one way of telling the customers that yes, something is happening. Even if from one step to the other step it may take 2 days, but you say, yeah, something is coming, my product is likely to come. Right? So that is a very, very important thing. Now in order to provide that updates, you have to have real time updates from the logistics provider. So you have to integrate third party technologies into your own system. So remember, that's another big challenge. Integrating third party technology is not an easy job, right? You are on a different system, he is on a different system, and so on and so forth. Next is post purchase. Post purchase engagement is again a very, very important thing. And in India, the statistic shows that the customers who are buying from DtoC platform, a whopping 40% of them are not happy in post purchase. And that is either due to poor product or due to poor process, that is delivery, or due to poor after sales service or whatever you need. And that is a problem area. And you have to solve things at all levels. Now you may not, there are companies which take pride in to be 100% DtoC or 100% online or 100% web. Now sometimes you are frustrated, you want to talk to someone on a call, you don't have their customer care number, because everything is happening on a chatbot. Chatbot has 5 questions. It has been fed with 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 questions. And you don't find the right question which you can pick and get the answer to, right? There's a problem. Somebody said it's very easy. Today you're not banking, right? Your banking is not, I heard the Salesforce guy who was talking about, yes, banking is all automated now. You don't need to really reach out to your banker. But trust me one thing, in US the trend is becoming fast. Voice is at premium. Do you know how difficult it is to reach a phone banker through the maze of IVR? Do you know why this is happening? They don't bother about customer experience. It's cost. Nothing else but cost. Remember, tomorrow your HDFC is not least bothered, and I'm ready to say it in front of HDFC guy. They're not bothered about the customer experience. They're doing this only to save money, because getting there a trained human voice is expensive. So in US, what they have come up with, that if you dial a voice, you pay a little extra for that. So voice is premium there. Voice is now premium. So they have gone through from that cycle to this cycle. We are still on that cycle. And people still are frustrated. Tell me if I am wrong. Aren't you frustrated at the other side of the phone? You never get to hear press line for a customer service representative. You're just walking through the maze. And that's the problem, and that delivers a poor customer experience. So how do you integrate all this is the most important thing. Therefore, what are the challenges you are facing? The first challenge is data silos. The systems are not talking to each other. Trust me, in order to deliver a good customer experience, you need 3 things: a product, a process, and people. And unfortunately, they are not talking to each other. I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about processes. Processes are not integrated. Ideally, if I'm calling a company, forget about large organization, but a mid-sized organization, they have my number, they will take your number, but only to send you SMSs, to sell. But ideally, if I am calling someone who has my number, he should know exactly what I have purchased, what I am likely to buy, what was the problem in the last time, why did I call last time. He should have a complete detail, but they don't, because the processes are not talking to each other. So there are data silos in the company. That's the first problem. So you need to build integration. The second is personalization. Personalization is a very critical area. Now, some of you, I'm not sure how many of you are selling to countries in Europe and US where there are laws of CCPA, California Customer Protection Act in US, and GDPR in Europe, and in India we have already passed the law DPDP, right? Digital Personal Data Protection Act. Now, most likely after the general elections are over, the data that act will be promulgated and it will become very difficult for people to handle things. There is a very thin line between personalization and privacy. Now, technology allows you to give personalization, but how much of that personalization you are ready to deliver is very important. Now, it is good if someone tells me that you bought something else, last time you bought something and therefore there is a discount or there is a new color of a necktie which you bought last time, I am happy. But if someone gives me more information about, okay, you have X number of money lying in your bank, why don't you do a FD? I get agitated. And this is happening. Someone with those 3 eyes in the bank is doing exactly the same. They send me a message. Why don't you do an auto renewal of your FD? Come on, that's my choice. You send it once, good. Don't send me every third day. So the personalization is good, but you have to ensure that you don't cross the line between personalization and privacy. So you can't invade the privacy. But how do you deliver personalization is again through technology. So you have to integrate AI tools, and this is what I'll probably talk in the next slide, is how do you integrate AI tools in order to build personalization. So I should be able to actually predict what you need next time. What is it that you're likely to buy? Why are you here? Why did you abandon? I told you 50% is more than 50% are abandoning. So why are you abandoning? So AI should help me deliver that level of personalization where I can talk to you exactly on what your engagement was with my product or with my process, right? Third thing is omni-channel integration. Now, if you go to some of the major platforms in India, maybe Amazon or Flipkart or such, there is a fair degree of omni-channel integration. So you're using something, you're selecting the product through mobile, you're going and checking out through what you call on the web or on your laptop. You may select a product here, you can go and check out personally in a shop, you can buy the product here, you can pick it out from somewhere else. So there is a fair amount of omni-channel integration happening currently. But omni-channel integration requires one very important technology to work, which is, or rather two, one is cloud, the second is security. Since you are moving from one device form to the other device form, since you are moving from the one platform to the other, your data has to move along with you. So at every step when you abandon certain process and move on to complete that process into a certain other using other device or other platform, the data should seamlessly move along with it. And if it is not doing so, then the customer experience will be very poor. So suppose if my wife has selected something and put it on favorite, hey listen, how is this new dress looking? And when I see and I look, oh I don't see it. Then this is wrong, right? So that is omnichannel. That is, I should be able to move from one system to the other, from one platform to the other, from one device to the other seamlessly, and that is only possible through a secured cloud infrastructure. So how do you build a secured cloud infrastructure so that people move on from one place to the other? So that is something which is important, and when you are building a DtoC platform, ensure that you are on cloud, because that is the only way you can manage things. Otherwise, if you are in an on-premise environment, you will create so much of complexity that it will create problems for delivering customer experience. And lastly, agility and responsiveness. How agile are your processes? How quick you can respond? I'll give you another very interesting example. Somebody is from Walmart here, I saw. What is the rate of returns? Not RO, returns of the shipment. I have bought a product, I don't like it, I want to return.
Competitor, so hence it has gone further down. India, it has grown 7x during pandemic, I can call out that. US, it is at
Very
peak.
high. US is very high. I hope everybody is listening to what she's saying, right? I get time's up. Sorry, I have 2 more minutes probably. So, and there is a huge fraud in returns. Big online delivery, yes, please.
Sir, I want to just quote one example. This is very, very recent example.
Please.
In return, the fraud happened.
In return fraud, yes.
Yeah. So one hacker, he could hack to one of the return transaction.
Correct.
And by the time we detect, he could do 30 plus such transactions globally from one zone, because those systems are very much isolated.
Correct.
And he could jump into other systems in other geo.
Correct.
And we had to stop all return transaction for 1 hour.
Right. So, detecting the fraud and stopping it is really, really important. When the big world companies like Walmart and Amazon are struggling to stop fraud, it's a big, online fraud is a huge issue. If you can't solve it, then, and for a DtoC, you have to be really, really cautious. And that is why I brought this thing into picture. So you have to have a secured environment to do that. I'll quickly move into the role of technology. So one is, I think I talked while I was discussing, I don't go with the slides too much. So I talked about data-driven personalization. How will you use data to drive personalization and how do you move across? Then AI enabled customer service. How do you do AI enabled customer service? But at the same time, I told you that where you draw the line so that people can talk to there should be, the new thing which is emerging in the online world is AI human interface. Where do you stop AI and bring human into picture? Now that human could be on premium, that human could be at the same rate or whatever free, that is for every business to decide, every geography to decide. But you cannot rely 100% on AI based thing. AI can give you a lot of inputs, can crunch a lot of data to provide you that personalization and customer service, but you need to bring a human interface on top of it. And third is user friendly interfaces. A lot of D2C brands, and I have seen it personally. I'm one of the company which is selling air purifier in India and competes with the likes of Dyson. I'm one of the consultants to them, and their navigation was extremely poor, and therefore their abandonment rate was as high as 72%. 72% of the people would not buy despite reaching their website because the navigation was poor. So if your navigation if the ease of use is poor, you will never deliver customer experience and will lose your customers. So that's another very important thing, and you have to use technology so that people move seamlessly from one page to the other, from one process action to the other, and don't take it to the next time. Now there are a lot of times when you buy an airline ticket from a particular airline and when you are making the payment, you have a problem. Suddenly your amount has been deducted from your card, but the transaction is still not complete. Again, these are simple things where technology is going to play a very important role in delivering a customer experience. And lastly, how have you built feedback mechanism? This is something which I have seen very rare instance in even large companies. Feedback loops are negligible or missing. So you have to build a technology which allows for a two-way communication. It can't be a one-way route. If you are doing a one-way route, you will lose. Trust me for that. So you have to create a feedback mechanism. A lot of large companies in India, I don't want to name, but they don't have a proper feedback loop. and you just struggle. Now, what are the emerging technology? Hyper personalization is one which I talked about, right? Immersive experience. Just like you go to a supermarket, and I'll talk those things which are really more important than others. You go to a supermarket and you go to a shelf, right? It says health drinks. So there are 10 different brands, 20 different pack sizes, different flavors, and then you buy, you see what it contains, the contents, how it looks like, blah, 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 and probably you don't taste, but you select one and then you complete the purchase, correct? There is something called a digital shelf. How many of you know digital shelf? There is a whole field of analytics called digital shelf analytics, where you have to build in a technology to understand what's happening on your digital shelf. So just like your normal shelf, so when you go to say Flipkart, you see the picture there, then you see multiple pictures, you see dimensions, you see relative images, right? So if you're buying a table, how will it look like in your room? You use some AR kind of a thing to see that. That's a digital shelf. You do comparison. You can immediately do a comparison on digital shelf. If your digital shelf is not proper, the chances that the purchase abandonment will be high are there. Second, if you are not doing analytics on a digital shelf, and here it is here where technology comes into picture, it is here where AI comes into picture. What is the customer doing? What kind of things customer is looking for? You have to ensure that analytics is important. And those analytics, digital shelf analytics, decides about what kind of products you are interested in, what kind of comparisons you are interested in, what features you are interested in. I have seen hundreds of times on large e-commerce players in India where critical features are missing, where certain dimensions are in metric system, others are in British system. Some dimensions are in centimeters, other are in inches. Now it's left to your imagination to decide how big your shelf going to be. No, these are simple things which we are not doing. But the problem is, do I have the technology to understand and grasp at what level the customer is leaving things, at what level the customer is using things, and that digital shelf analytics is extremely important. Now, it can't be alone. I talked about data silos. It has to go back. It has to circle back into your product management. And that is why I said there are three things: product, people, and processes. If all three things are not integrated, you will go ahead. I get a signal that the lunch is getting cold now. So key takeaways, I will skip this, you all know. But I want to talk 2 minutes on this. So what I feel is, and this is quite a important thing, the globally people are feeling is that the next generation, CX is going to drive the business, nothing else. All your technology will fall behind CX. All your technology will leverage CX. So CX is something which will be in the driver's seat. Now that's a question of debate whether the CMO, CTO, CIO, CEO, who's going to be in the driver's seat, that's a question of debate. We can discuss it later. But one thing is for sure, CX is the one which is going to be the forefront. Second, in India today, we do not have a community where the CX practitioners and CX technology providers can come together and have the right kind of discussion and engagement. How do I enhance my digital shelf? How do I ensure that the experience is superior than the last time? How do I measure CX? A lot of people don't know how to measure CX, right? These kinds of questions are there in the minds of CX leaders as well as CX technology providers, because Salesforce also has to understand, or Dell also has to understand, how are you going to deliver this and what technology is required, what kind of integration is required to deliver the customer experience. Therefore, we have built this platform called CXNet, where I am an advisor, and this is basically a community building where we are building people, getting people not only for knowledge sharing but for industry networking, right, in sessions like these. It also gives you a 360-degree view from the customer right to the technology to the supply chain and its integration, right, everything all together. Then it also talks about the new technology areas, and it is a great place for technology providers to showcase how they are helping online businesses and DtoC businesses, or even brick and mortar businesses on delivering CX, right? And of course, this is something which we feel is going to drive most of the businesses and especially the new age businesses where CX will stand right in the front for delivering the superior growth for your company, right? That's all from my side. If you have any questions, we can take it here. If you permit me for 2 minutes, otherwise we'll go out and have questions, right? Any questions? Any comments? Okay, I think the lunch is there, right? Ready? Thank you so much.